developer advocate at Okteto. And in this video, I want to demonstrate how we can create data clones from an existing deployed application here in Okteto. What are data clones? In this volume snapshot in Kubernetes, basically, plainly put, it's a volume snapshot. But again, that doesn't satisfy what we mean by data clones. Basically, it means it's a copy of your application's database at a particular instance. Do you understand? And so, what uses this database clone? Why do you need it? And now in Okteto is mainly for development. You have multiple namespaces you can own. And now I have this application here. When I go to this, it's been loaded with data. So I'm done. When I go to do, I have all these data here. Okay, so I want to create a new namespace, but I also want this data to be installed. How do I manage this? It looks like a lot of stress. Would I have to start imputing these to-dos again? Do I have to write a script to automatically do this whenever I want to create a new namespace with the same data? You know, along the line, it becomes boring and tiring, and you get fed up. So we have data clones here in Okteto. Okay, we have it. What does it do? How does it work? With data clones, all you need to do is create a volume snapshot and add annotations to your manifest, and you have your application's database imported with your application in a new namespace. It's as simple as that. I know it sounds simple, yes. So how do you also do this? So to create a database clone itself, you are going to have to write a volume snapshot file. What is a volume snapshot file? It's a manifest that just tells Kubernetes to create a snapshot from this source of data in this namespace. And the snapshot created is what we are going to now import our data from whenever we are deploying a new application in a separate namespace. This is particularly useful for team work, because you want to move data around different namespaces. How do you do this? Having to store physical data. But as I said, this is the source of our application here. You can see we have this application, and from the Docker Compose, we have two services and we have a volume. And since we have it deployed already, we are going to clone this locally. Okay, so we're going to do item here. And we're going to have to say, cd documents and git clone. And we wait for this to get cloned. We go into Python here. And the first step is to do Okteto login to make sure we are logged in before we can perform any actions. Very important. Like I said earlier, data cloning is particularly useful when you want to shift data between different namespaces. So in this video, I'm going to deploy the application with into a different namespace, but with the same data. That's the essence of data cloning. Now that we have it, we need to do Okteto namespace to make sure we're in the right namespace. Everything is installed. Okay, cool. What's the next step? Like I said earlier, we are going to have to create a volume snapshots configuration file. And as such, we're going to have to say touch volume snapshots. That's YML. And I'm going to use V editor to import this volume snapshot here. Okay, and now we're going to write volume snapshot app. But again, we have to visit okteto.com/docs to make sure everything is in place. And now we have on the documentation site a guide on creating volume snapshots. Okay, we have an extensive documentation, so you can also visit here for more information. Okay, so when we get here, we have volume snapshots here. So to create a volume snapshot, this is the manifest we need. And before we copy and paste it, I'm just going to give a brief explanation of how it works. So this is basically what we need. You need the name for which application snapshot is going to be created in. You need the volume claim, that is where is it deployed from, what source should it get this particular volume from. And so you copy this and you go back, copy, and you go back to your editor and you paste here. But now we are not using MySQL, we're using a MongoDB. So we're going to change this to MongoDB snapshots demo. And now the volume claim, it means the name of the volume. And when we go back to our cluster here and click on our deployment, you can see the name of the volume is MongoDB data. To replace this as MongoDB data. As a recap, what have we done? We have this manifest here. We're creating a snapshot under the name MongoDB snapshots demo. And we're also creating this snapshot from the MongoDB data volume. That is the source. And now we are done with save. With this in place, we are going to execute this. We're going to apply this using kubectl to create our namespace volume snapshot. And so we're going to use kubectl to deploy the volume snapshot. We're going to say kubectl apply the volume snapshots manifest under this namespace youngest here. And running this command creates a snapshot. Okay, so it has been created. This MongoDB snapshot demo has been created. So what's the next step? Now we need to create a new namespace to deploy our application, a new deployment, but with the same data we have. And for that, we're going to create a new namespace. We're going to use Okteto create namespace, cloned data, then your namespace youngest dev. And once this is created, we are going to have to do Okteto namespace to make sure we're in the right namespace. Cloned data youngest dev. So with this in place now, we need to make changes to our manifest, which is Docker Compose manifest. Why are we making these changes? Because now we need to instruct Docker Compose, okay, your data here is gotten from this source. So whenever I deploy my application to Okteto, Okteto sees these labels and it understands that, oh, there's a snapshot located somewhere and I have to make sure they are drawn properly and this data is supplied from the source to the target. So I'll make changes to the Docker Compose manifest here. And under the volumes which we have MongoDB data here. So we're going to create labels. And under labels, we're going to append our annotations here, which is first is dev.okteto.com/from snapshot name. Now what this means is that the volume MongoDB data is going to be imported from where should we get your data from? And for snapshot name we created was MongoDB data demo. If I'm correct, so we can verify documents Python. We can verify from our volume snapshot manifest. We have MongoDB snapshots demo rather. Okay, MongoDB snapshots demo. And so the next annotation we want to add is from snapshot namespace. This was particularly interesting and important because now Okteto knows Okteto knows that you need a snapshot by this name. But from where? Because you might have multiples, but you need a particular source. So from the namespace which you created it, which is youngest dev. And so before we deploy application, let's do a recap. What we did here was add annotations under our volume. That is, it tells Okteto to, okay, Okteto, when you're deploying this application, we need you to get the data from this particular snapshot which we've created. And we want you to get the snapshot from the youngest dev namespace. And now that we are done, we're going to deploy and say Okteto stack deploy. Here. And we wait for applications to get deployed. And now we're deploying the stack Python Docker Compose, and you can of course monitor this once it starts building. Okay. Let's refresh our cluster here. So we can have access to this clone data. Oh, and you can see application has been deployed. You can look at the manifest here. You see we have the labels we have properly put in place. And now we have both application. We have the MongoDB is instantiating when we look at the outputs here. And this is running, so we can check, okay, this is working. So now we need to make sure that the MongoDB data is created. And when you look at, the annotations, you can see this was properly put in place. You have the snapshot name and the namespace have been included in the MongoDB volume itself. That is, okay, my data has been gotten from this place. So now we need to confirm that it works properly. Okay. Okay, we're just going to wait for MongoDB to get up and running. It should take about a minute. Okay, almost there. It's up and running. Good. And now when we go back here and get our to do, and you can see we have the same data as we have in this place. And so this is how data cleaning works. Without you having to import data from an existing source and having to do all the gymnastics involved, it's one of the features I'm proud of at Okteto, and I think you should try it. And so let's do a quick recap of what we've done so far in this video. So the first step was to deploy our application. Obviously, there are videos on how you should deploy applications, so I believe you are not a newbie. And now we have our application deployed, and we added data, and we needed to create a separate deployment, a separate namespace, but we needed the same data. How are we going to transport this? It's a lot of stress. So we decided to create a volume snapshot. And our volume snapshot here, let's make this large so everybody can see. And our volume snapshots, we have the name and the source of the data. And after that, we made changes to our, volumes. We said, okay, we want you to get your data from the snapshot we created, and the snapshot should be gotten from the youngest dev namespace. And after that, we deployed, and within just a minute or two, our application was deployed successfully, and our data was grabbed successfully from the youngest dev namespace. That's very interesting. I think it's simple, and I think it's something you should try. If I'm excited about it, I think you should. Thank you very much for watching this video. Do like and subscribe. I would like that you try this feature out and get back to us and give us your feedback. We would like to hear all of them. And our community call is on 23rd of this month. I wish you do not miss it. Thanks and bye.